Welcome back to another episode from Carl's Cycle Supply. In this episode, we are going to go over a freshly sorted out and restored 47 FL that we just went through for a friend in Florida. Flight Red 47s are a lot like Blue and Cream 36 ELs. They both hold a special place in my heart, and they're the most requested colors for bikes that we restore. We've been working on at least one of each of them for as long as I can remember. This is the oldest pic I could find of me on one back in 2001. These bikes are so much fun and a very refined and sorted unit when properly set up. This video has some good information about late 47s and other things that changed the last year that Knuckleheads were made and rolled off the assembly line. Thanks for your support, for liking and subscribing, and for watching the videos that we've been making over here in South Dakota. So this 1947 Knucklehead is a really nice example, and the bike has been together its whole life. It's all original frame, all original fork, perfect matched cases, really nice original transmission. The serial number is 5900 and change. This is right about when they started switching from the bullneck frame to the late style 47 frame. And this one has a UU forged into the web, and I think it has one on the seat post forging as well, which is really cool. I'm not sure what the UU means. It started showing up in 45 and 46 along with the BK die marks. You see it on 46 and 47 frames, on bullnecks and late 47s, and then the really late 47s don't have it. And then they have different tank mounts, and they have different seat post cross member weld seams. This is kind of when they hit their stride and started running out of plastic parts and metal parts and added more chrome. If you look at a 47 prototype picture, which was made in 46, it has a parkerized manifold and nuts and just quite a bit different looking bike. So I really like this one. It had a sidecar on it for most of its life, and consequently the bottom of the frame rails were perfect. The fenders were perfect. The fenders were nice enough to chrome plate. They were amazing. The tanks were really nice, and the dash cover's really nice too. Something of note, if you're doing a 47, this has the late style dash where it isn't open all the way down, and I left the little side clip off so we could see that in the video. This bike has the standard length bars. They're a lot more comfortable. You sit with your elbows up, and it's really an enjoyable experience. So our friend Brad that we finished this bike up for used to be a Harley dealer, and something that I noticed while we were working with him is that he kind of asked for some fun accessories on the bike that maybe weren't necessarily correct for the year 47, but something that the dealership would have had. He asked to put a set of squash birds on, which is something we make for 41 and 42 Knuckleheads. And he also asked for one of my HD boot guards, which we still have to put on. And we also have to put some saddlebags on it. And when they get back, we'll install them and put some pictures up in the video. So it has wide brace fenders. It has a ride control. It is really just a nice, happy motorcycle. 47 is kind of a monumental year. It's very historically important. America had really hit its stride after World War II. Optimism was up. Everybody was excited. All the manufacturers were pumping out cars, bikes, boats, everything. It was really a golden era in America. I think 47 is the highest production year for Knuckleheads, and it is also the last year. So even though it was the last year of the Knucklehead motor, they still came out with a bunch of cool new features that carried into the Panhead years. Probably the most iconic new update for 47 was the tank emblems and the Tombstone dash, and then also the Tombstone taillight. The Tombstone taillight was used through 1954. The Tombstone dash was used all the way up into, I don't know, I think like 66 or 7. And then they came out with a die-cast one that was just kind of a bigger version of this. The emblems, they only used for a few years. That wasn't as iconic, but you know, it's like ushered in a new era of styling. And people were just excited to go out motoring and have fun and do cool stuff. So we did a late 47 for a guy up in North Dakota that was a nice original bike, and that had a fender just like this, but it had a 48 style loom. And that was one of the last 47s made. So it was not a 48 fender because it didn't have the strip spot welded right here for the screws. So I think there were probably 2 or 3 fenders in 47. The speedometer is 1 year only. This is the last year of a single face, and it has a 1 year only face. And then the speedometer can has a light window, and it's offset to the left rather than being centered. The headlight bracket is a 47 only part. It has holes right here for mounting the horn, and then it has no holes up here, and it's just a really awesome part. The front fork leg is 1 year only. The rear fork leg is like late 46, 47. It's just a really awesome, beautiful bike. Okay, here is the left side of this 47 FL, and it is just so beautiful. We haven't fired it up yet. It's nice to get pictures and video while it's super fresh. We still have to put saddlebags on it and some under the seat lights that we're getting from Paul Greenwood. He did the lights on a 46 in a video a few months ago. And they're going to be black with a chrome ring, just like the tail light and headlight. I guess just kind of skimming over the 47. A few other cool features that came out. 47 was the first year for putting jam nuts between the crash bar and the fender clamp. And that's how they did it all the way up until 57. Before that, the crash bar tab was just bolted right to the fender tip. And it's also the first year of the reversed shift pattern, which is really cool. When Harley reversed the shifting, all they did was rotate the shift lever on the transmission 180 degrees. But in order to do that, they had to grind some clearance in the case, and then they also had to make some clearance in the top for when it was in 4th gear, because the end of the shift rod would hit the shifter top. It's kind of cool. It's like a simple way to do a new feature and not have a bunch of money into R&D, and they also got to use something that they knew worked really good. You know, I like both of them, but this is cool because when you're going forward, it just feels like you're going faster when you shift and you're pushing the lever forward. It's kind of cool. This is a bike that we converted to 12 volt. It has a cycloelectric generator, Andrews coil, H4 halogen headlight bulb, a nice little disposable battery, and a fuse on the ground, and just all the good stuff to make it trouble-free and fun. I think that about covers it. We got to put the bags on, put some break-in miles on it, and then send it to its new home. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in to the next episode where we'll be going over beautiful restorations and motorcycling adventures here at Carl's Cycle Supply.